Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you today? If you haven't been here before, welcome along. It's Ken at 10. We are James Alexander Estate Agents. We're based in southwest London, broadcast every day at 10 o'clock for your entertainment and amusement. So if you've been here before and you're back, well, thanks for coming back. Welcome along. Flying ants, what's going on? Did they come yesterday, didn't they? Lots of social media posts saying yesterday was Flying Ants Day here. And we're all confused because we thought it was a few days ago. Have you experienced them? There's nothing worse, is there, than Flying Ants Day? Absolutely hate it. Ants are bad enough, but then they start flying all around the place for a couple of days. It drives me mad. Anyway, my rant for the day over. It is an absolutely stonking hot day here in Norbury. It's absolutely beautiful out there. Good day for photography, and we've got a new instruction being photographed right now, which is going to look fabulous. Most popular properties, I was thinking about this, it goes without saying, or maybe it doesn't, but the most popular property price range is between 400,000 and 500,000 locally. And that's partly brought on by the fact that that's the kind of sweet spot for 3-bedroom houses in the local area, but also obviously partly affected by the stamp duty exemption, which goes up to 500. So if you're buying at 500, you get the maximum benefit. And I think people are recognizing that because that's where all the action is for sure. And what's also interesting is, and it's been this way for some time now, I call it the homes under the hammer effect. The houses that are most popular are the ones with the least work carried out. So all the beautiful homes, all immaculate with lovely bifold doors, island kitchens, fantastic, but actually buyers would rather a wrecker. Whether their mortgage company will see it the same way, that's another difficulty. We have a couple in poor condition at the moment. And what we find is that a lot of people with 90% mortgages are looking to purchase them. And realistically, it's not likely to happen. And sometimes those buyers will offer more, but vendors decide to go with someone with a larger deposit, knowing that there's a good chance that the lender will hold back monies by way of a retention, which means they won't release the full monies, which means that the deal can't go through. So if you're on a 90% mortgage and you're looking at a house with extensive works, it may not be for you. You could end up wasting your survey money and having to start all over again. But yeah, that's where all the action is. And we're finding lots of buyers out there looking at houses, and it really defies belief to me. Sometimes you look at them and you think, yeah, there's £100,000 worth of work there. And yet the house is 50,000 less than the one in good condition, and yet still sells really readily. So it's a weird thing, but it happens all the time. Sometimes we look at houses and we think, well, why is that one sold and this beautiful house hasn't gone yet? You feel like, should we take a hammer to it? Maybe they prefer it then. And I do think it's this homes under the hammer effect that I've spoken about before. And I know, I'm biased because I appear on it occasionally, once a month on average, because we're kind of always called by them. We're very grateful for that. BBC coverage that we can't buy, that we get regularly, is absolutely amazing. But what they do is they show you a house that's in very poor condition, and then you see a whoosh, the screen changes, and there it is, beautiful. And it looks simple, doesn't it? And what you don't see is the year or two between those two photo shoots that we've done and the 100,000 that it's cost. And then all of a sudden that 100,000 they've made is negated by the 100,000 they've spent. And some people will say, well, we prefer it that way, because even if we spend the same or more, at least it's the way we want it. And I kind of get that. But we do find now that houses that need work are not necessarily going to provide the best value. Sometimes the ones that are done or were done a few years ago that you might want to redo again actually represent better value because there's less work to do in the short term. But of course, it's also about affordability. The Prime Minister's brother is locked in a planning row with a neighbour. This is Boris Johnson's brother is locked in a planning row. The neighbour's trying to build a roof terrace, and Joe Johnson claims a proposed extension and redevelopment will invade his privacy at his 3 million 5-bed mansion in Primrose Hill. And apparently he's now going to build a privacy wall in retaliation to the application. Yeah, the privileged few, eh? Apart from that, not much news on the property front today. The market continues apace. Lots of inquiries coming in, huge numbers of viewings, and great to see a large number of valuations coming in too. And we anticipate a really busy weekend because the weather for tomorrow is looking stonking again. We're going to be hotter than Hawaii tomorrow. And we hope that it's going to bring lots of buyers out of the woodwork, and they'll be setting up viewings for tomorrow and the weekend. We always find at this time of the week, we're gearing up to make sure that we're ready for the influx of calls. We're calling people and saying, what are you doing? What properties are you looking at? What other ones can we offer you? How does one you looked at compare? What's the best one you've seen? Trying to get beneath the surface of buyers and find out and understand what makes them tick, what they're looking for, why they're looking for it. And once you've got that in your mind, it's much easier to help people. If you know that John's got a dog and therefore needs a 100-foot garden, as long as you've listened, then when you show John the one that maybe has only a 50-foot garden, before you show him, the first thing you say is, look, John, I'm really sorry. I know it's not a 100-foot garden, but it's got the garage you wanted. It's got this you wanted. It's on the road you wanted. All of a sudden, you may well find that you get that person out viewing, but never by virtue of a lie. And that's what frustrates buyers more than anything, is where they feel that they've told an agent something and then they're being dragged around a property which doesn't fit that criterion at all. One of the biggest frustrations that applicants have, agents, is when you offer them something that is nothing like what they've requested. Now, there's nothing wrong with offering them something that they haven't requested, but before you go there, you really should be discussing it with them and explaining why you think it's worth their while looking and what it is that's special about it, and for the reasons why it might fit their needs, even though that might be apparent initially. Another frustration with buyers is they always say, well, the agent is sending me things that are 50,000 higher than my price range. And I understand this is a real frustration for buyers. However, most buyers end up spending more than the price they're registered at. So that's the reason agents do it. But they should obviously draw your attention to it. I think the main thing for me is that agents just need to be transparent in terms of why they're offering what they're offering. Looks like the front door's going again. Well, that's it for Ken at 10 today. I hope you have a fantastic day. And if you have any questions for property, remember we got Ask Jay Tuesday, and we'd be happy to take your questions then. Have a fantastic day. We'll be back same time tomorrow.